Oh, hello. I'm going to need to wait for Zach to even get here. I'm probably talking way too loud. I'm not used to using this mic. You see, you can't see my lovely dick-shaped mic that I normally use. That one's all fucked up. It's having erectile dysfunction right now, so it's not being very useful. The input for it somehow ripped off inside of the actual USB connecting cable, and nobody around me will fix it. Every single electronics company that I call goes, "Oh, that's not something we could do." Like, we fix it's you're replacing a USB port, and I say that, and then well, we can't do that. Everybody just needs to repair the stupid iPhones. Anyway, this is the new episode of YMB. This is episode 270. If you're not counting our Twitch stream last week, we'll probably get back onto that next week. This was kind of impromptu. That's why we're starting a little bit late. I'll thank you now for joining us as you guys come in. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not even sure where we're going with this one right now. This is definitely gonna be more one of those me and Zach hang out and just complain about Daniel. At least I imagine it devolving and down into that pretty quickly. Let's see. What the last time I did this episode was I did this 2 weeks ago by myself. It was that I think they're still happening, but everybody was just talking about the Gillettes or whatever. I never remember the words that people give, like revolutionary groups, but the people in the safety neon yellow coats in France who were burning stuff and trashing museums, which I was like, yep, do it. Yeah, I haven't really changed from that point of view. I'm trying to think of like what has happened since. I mean, every single day there's something new about how, I mean, the world is falling apart because Trump said something, or whatever it is. There's always something new that's supposed to be the biggest, hugest thing, but I don't know that I've noticed too much going on. Hopefully Zach does show up, because then he can kind of remind me of something that did happen. Just to get this out of the way, normally I do this with Zach Vol. You can follow him. Just find his name on Twitter. He has a lot more followers than I do, so you shouldn't have that much of an issue. I got dragged into. I didn't get dragged into. I just saw a bunch of notifications on my phone because Zach said something, and then people were like, "Have you been here for that long? I don't understand how you can have an opinion if you haven't been here more months than I have. I don't look at your opinion as valid, because if it doesn't have something to do with my time scale, then you must be stupid and uninformed." So apparently that's a great thing. Anytime I do look at Twitter, it's people who tweet for mostly having to do with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, and it's, oh, everybody's salty. Why don't you should block the people that are salty, because Twitter is for making us happy or something. Like, I don't even get what Twitter is for anymore. Even the people that say they're enjoying it seem like they're putting so much effort into the tweet saying that they're enjoying it. I don't really buy it. I guess it's like a public discourse, but I don't like, more than half of the fun online is being able to communicate with people without it being directly connected back to you. Like, you can tell them that you hope their mother dies of cancer or something like that, and then there isn't going to be a mob going, "You shouldn't have." Like, no internet conversation should have a third person going, "Hey guys, let's watch what we're saying," because what happens would you say that to somebody's face? No, of course not. Maybe, depending on how small they were, but you wouldn't say that to somebody's face. That's the entire, like, the reason why we do it through the computers, because we don't have to look at the person's face. This is just like war. Like, we just dehumanize the enemy so much because we make it just like another. It's an avatar in the top part of their screen, and you can tell them to go kill themselves, and you hope that they lose their job. That's what I guess Twitter's for nowadays, is just helping people lose their jobs. If you do anything really outside, like, and I get it, and I can appreciate it, and I understand how Twitter can be something useful for that, and then going forward in our progress in society, we want more accountability, and I know if I had to argue for any kind of an actual organization of libertarian society, it would have to be almost completely based off of something if not exactly Twitter, then like it, just because we need like kind of universal, like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. He won't pay for anything. He'll run away. He'll probably try to steal your daughter or something like that. Versus, oh yeah, this guy's cool. He's fine. He normally pays the bills. Maybe he'll even tip you well. So we need something like that. But as far as now, it's just a bunch of people getting fired for saying things either when they weren't working, before they were working, uh, off job site, doesn't really have anything to do with the job site, and whether it's jokes or whether it's jokes that get brought up because of them sounding pedophilic, jokes because of their racism, jokes because of their sexism, jokes because of just their crudeness in general. People are, and I don't feel as bad for like entertainers that are doing it. I know it's their entire life, but I don't really have too much sympathy for anybody in that kind of upper crust of society. I just don't have the experience to really, like, you need to be able to empathize. I can't empathize with Kevin Hart because he had to go home on his less expensive private jet whenever he flew back from not being able to do the Oscars. It's like, you're fine. Like, you're you have enough money. It's not going to be the end of the world. But I feel worse for like just the random people who are just stupid and don't understand that Twitter is going to go everywhere. And it's like, they work at like a paint company. They make $15 an hour and they decide to make some joke online because they think it's just going to be their friends. And then somehow a news site gets a hold of it and starts throwing it around, and then they can't get a job painting anymore. I don't know if that actually ever happens. I've heard it happening with, where there was something a couple months ago. I think it was maybe a teacher. No, I mean, it probably wasn't a teacher, because that's the other thing, is that any time where in the news you kind of be like, oh, I hope that person gets kind of publicly shamed, it's never really done. Like like a 22-year-old teacher can fuck her 13-year-old student, and then everybody's pretty much, they get a job just as quickly as a cop does when he kills somebody. Like, they just go to the other county over and go, hey, I can fuck your kids too. And they normally get another job. It's, they don't really, yeah, again, like cops, they're gonna find another place where someone's gonna be like, yeah, sure, we know you fucked up. Everybody fucks up. Sometimes you just need to fuck a kid, and sometimes you just need to shoot somebody when they don't have a gun on them. And we all know even the best of us make mistakes. So we're going to bring you on here. We're going to let you be a part of us. That's actually how we took Zach on. Zach had actually murdered his entire last podcast kind of co-hosts. They did one. It was called fuck, I don't know. I ran out of steam. Like, I couldn't remember if Daniel or Zach ever said where they went to college. I don't know if they're trying to keep that under wraps. It's probably somewhere in one of these episodes. I don't really know why they would, but at the same point, I'm talking about how annoying Twitter and media is getting as far as just ratting on people. So I'll stay away from that. If you want to get this or any time the newest show, you can always go to ymb.tc/live. We normally do a live show. Like I said, last week we tried doing a Twitch stream. We played Rocket League. I sucked at it for a while because I was using the keyboard. I do promise I'm better now. We're looking at doing other games like that too, but like I said, we'll probably jump back on that in the next couple weeks. It's a little bit weird with holidays and people traveling around. It's just a wonderful time of the year for everybody, isn't it, guys? There, you can get a little view. This is the mic I used to do this on. I either lost the pop filter, or when I gave it to my roommate, he lost the pop filter. Regardless, whichever it is, I don't have it. So probably all this is coming through just a lot. But hopefully not. I think I calibrated it last time. I don't really know if you're even able to do that for this mic. I haven't used it for a while. But yeah, last week we did Twitch stream just playing Rocket League. I think we played bots or something. We need to figure out exactly how to stream like live games versus other people. Because I think we played each other like 2-on-1 because one of us had a controller, the other two had keyboards, and It looked like the cars were having like seizures sometimes when I was trying to turn around because I'd accidentally hit the jump button and then the boost all of a sudden. But yeah, we'll get back on that. We'll actually play some games against some other people and show you guys how much we suck. We're also looking at other games. If you do want to tweet us, tweet Daniel at You Mean BTC, tweet me at Baker's Dozen 93. Give us some games you want us to play. I know last week in the chat on Twitch, someone gave us a whole bunch of games to look at. So we've been doing that. Send us games too. If you guys just want to start buying us games, we'll definitely play, regardless of what it is. Really, whatever it is, we'll play the game if you send it to us. But you have to get us at least 2 copies. Well, I'll say at least 1, because if it's a single person, there's no point in giving Daniel and me copies. So yeah, just send us 1 copy. We'll figure it out. I'll probably, depending on what it is, I'll steal it from Daniel. If it's not good, one I'll tell you on the next episode I do on here, and then also he can play it. And Daniel won't give you the same kind of content I can right now. You're listening to this right now. Um, yeah, I don't know. I sent an invite out a little bit ago, but who knows if anybody's showing up. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I like I said, I don't know exactly what to talk about. I know this isn't probably getting out to anybody right now because I was pretty much expecting to just play Rocket League again tonight. I'm a little fucked up and I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I really just wanted to be able to yell at Daniel and tell him he was an idiot for the next hour. I can't do that now. Um, but we'll make it through. We will overcome, as they say. I'm looking through Twitter now. Yeah, I don't know. Like as far as talking about Bitcoin, I'm kind of pissed because, well, no, yeah, I'll just talk about what I'm annoyed about. Let me see what even the price is at. I'm mostly annoyed because the price is going up that little bit. Like it's teasing this dumb shit again. So it's like, as far as I'd be concerned, just let it drop to like 1,000. So let it drop all the way to 1,000. More people can complain on Twitter. More people can go, oh, I lost so much money. And I'm just like, good. I hope you do. I just want free money when it goes back up. So it's not, I mean, this isn't coming from like oh, I'm above this. It's just I wish I had gotten more the last time. So please drop as far as it can. Blake, no, but I think part of what people aren't getting, especially when they're complaining about something, no, we've done that topic to death as far as people just not caring about Bitcoin. That isn't most of what you see on crypto Twitter, because if somebody's on that and in that kind of sphere of people, uh, they're most likely not involved. Like if they don't have any Bitcoin or any whatever other altcoin you want to throw into the mix, they're probably not commenting with people on there. Although now with how some of these people seem to be taking it, I would not be surprised if a few people have sold everything and just stuck around and just complain and just be like, you're stupid. It seems like Zach gets into those arguments with those people. I mean, kind of reminds me why. Now, I don't want to say this is like a virtue of mine, but it's like I look at it and I go, okay, wait, maybe that's why I don't like the idea of having to actually talk to people, because it's like it could be cool sometimes whenever like 100 people like your tweets and they're like, yeah, this is good, and then it just feels like shit when they're like, you're stupid, you stupid idiot. And I would bounce between those throughout my entire life. I've done that. It's not normally mediocre. It's rarely good, but sometimes it is. But most of the time, it's just kind of like a steady stream of just, how did you fuck that up so badly? We thought you were smart. Like I over the past couple of years of my life, I've started just playing dumber than I feel. No, I get I'm probably not that smart. Like what is it? 90% of people or whatever it is think that they're in like the 98th percentile of intelligence. So of course I think I'm smart, but I feel like I've had to consciously dumb myself down just to take away people's expectations about what I'm going to be able to accomplish. Because if you give people a blank stare versus like, oh yeah, no, tell me what to do, then whenever you come back and they're like, how did you break that in 2 minutes? You can be like, well, I'm just stupid. And they'll be like, oh, okay. Like, there's a lot more leeway for just stupid people than there is people who make mistakes. That seems like I make mistakes very frequently. I do normally learn from them, but it takes a few lessons for me to actually get the whole message. So I will repeat things, and people are like, "What the fuck is the matter with you?" Because it's like I normally do slightly better than average on a first go of something, but then it takes me forever to get better at it. Like the first time people are like, "Oh wow, that was your first time, wow," and then after that, it's just like you're not getting any better at all. Like this is still like you're still doing the exact same thing you did whenever you started. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where that was going. It was mostly just complaining about Bitcoin Twitter or crypto Twitter or whatever they call themselves. Um, Not that I really particularly dislike any of those people. I definitely feel like I would have like, if I was 17-year-old Tim, and just like I would just get pissed at anybody who had like a strong opinion about something. I was like, you don't know if you're wrong or right. How could you ever stick to like I was the perfect moderate on everything. No, actually that was probably like 18. I kind of switched over to that. I don't really remember. I had like a weird couple of years between yeah, I mean it was between like 19 and 22. There was a lot of not exactly sure what was going on. uh but yeah, I probably would have been pissed off before. I probably not even pissed because it's not like an actual anger or anything. It's like it's most jealousy over like, well, I can never feel like I'm even capable of having an actual concrete opinion, and I don't feel um I don't feel good. I don't feel good anymore whenever I see somebody kind of just be bad at something, or like I don't get so much enjoyment out of seeing somebody fail at something because my mindset used to be in something like, well, why should you try at that if you don't know you're going to do it well because you're kind of insulting whatever it is. Now I'm kind of like, at least you tried. Like most people don't even try at this at all, and there's no like I lost I guess a reverence for, and I'm not just talking about like spiritual stuff or which I did, but just kind of a reverence for a lot of things in the world I lost where I went, I mean, people just you have to kind of suck at something over and over and over again to get better at it. So whenever I see somebody with more followers and more tweets and more engagements, whatever, which is pretty much everybody, um, I don't get the same like, oh, like if I see them mistype something or somebody goes after them, I don't get the same. Oh, good. I'm glad I saw them fail. Like they're in, I see it in other people a lot. I think because I'm still worried about it myself. I'm not to say that I do it perfectly either, but I'm whatever the saying is, the problems you see the most in other people are most likely problems you share. That fits me perfectly. So I notice it a lot in other people now where they just take the like absolute glee out of seeing anybody with anything fail at it and just be like, "Ha, good. I'm glad you piece of shit." Like it's the most because it bothers me mostly because, and again, this is because I'm like, no, there's a certain kind of reverence with comedy, and you have to make it actually funny, which is bullshit too. But it's this kind of malicious. Oh, good. I'm glad I get to see them fall in the mud because they make me feel small. Like that's what it is. That's what it always was with me, where it's like I'm glad to see somebody fail because they make me feel like I'm failing every single time they succeed. And I'm just glad this one time because it's like it feels like you're succeeding if you say whatever and you do that. But I mean, you're not. You're not um you don't succeed whenever your enemy fails necessarily. I mean, you can maybe capitalize on something. You can use that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get what Twitter is. Maybe it's because I'm not signed into the Yumi and BTC Twitter. Um, but I try to send out a tweet before YMB. Try to send out a tweet before I started the live show, and I mean, I don't know. I pressed the Twitter button, it just disappeared, so I figured it sent it out. Nothing really did though. What was I saying? Yeah, if unless you're using that opportunity to capitalize on something, unless you're using it for like, what would be the word? Like inspiration or motivation or like the light of fire under your ass. Just somebody just failing is not going to be the thing that makes a breakthrough for you. Yeah, okay, I'll send out that tweet. And yeah, who knows? I don't even know if it's going to go to this one. It'll probably go to the old one. Um, fuck, where was I? This is why I can't be doing Twitters. This is why I need Daniel here to just complain about, and I can bitch about stuff very well and do other things, text or type other things out. But once I start like trying to be not an asshole about things, I have to like actually consciously think about it. Um, Yeah, so seeing somebody fail, seeing somebody who you think even if they get the better of you normally, seeing them then get fucked over by somebody else, sure, it's satisfying, and there is a difference with this, with like physical attacks versus emotional attack. Like, if somebody calls you names on the internet, it's a lot. I look at it as worse than to kind of gloat at whenever they get called something on the internet versus if somebody beats you up and then somebody else beats them up. That yeah, whatever, it's fine because the person is being an asshole. Just because they call you names on Twitter, or just because they have a differing opinion, even if it's like severely differing, and they go out of their way to differ with you, it's not the same thing as a physical attack. We if it was, then we have absolutely no hope for containing the world at all. Like if you start letting emotional and verbal abuse start getting classified, and I know it already is, but if you go too far with that, then it really is just up to lawyers to argue how it, just to like this is why I need Zach on here to like freak out and just jizz himself over just explaining how uh verbal assault could be considered a violation, because it's like I know that it could be, but I don't know the actual avenues of how it would have to go. But you can pretty much argue anything down to where it's either emotionally aggressive, emotionally manipulative, or something like that, where you could say, well, this is going to somehow contribute to a negative worldview of that person or a negative self view, and then that will then lead them to hurt themselves or start, whether that's through drugs or cutting themselves or getting into um, destructive relationships. Like, you can argue all this stuff down, that really anything you can say to anybody could have a negative effect on their life and their livelihood and the outcomes of everything that they've ever done. You could argue that that is a way to hurt somebody without ever having to put your hands on them. But where does that kind of end? It it because even the perfect utopia view of what that is sounds, if nothing, like, even if it works perfectly fine, we eradicate all kinds of mean speech about anything, that doesn't even sound interesting. I don't want to say fun, because like, it's not always fun, but if there is something about life being interesting. I don't know. I don't want to say it's supposed to be, because life is whatever it is. Like, our life, animals' life is just as far as I understand it, which is barely anything. It's a life is something that like, life is a force. It's like the same kind of thing as, I don't know. I was about to say the soul, but that doesn't really make sense. But life. can be interesting or it could be boring. Like we're in a state and time now where what's NEAT? I think that's the acronym for not employed or not in education. No, not employed education or technical, I think. NEET. Basically, it just describes um people who are literally doing nothing. At this point in the world, you don't have to have an Xbox. You don't have to have all you have to have is a Chromebook and an internet connection, and you could, for the next however long you live, it's a lot like if you somebody gives you all the money you'd ever need to buy food, all the other money for rent, all the money you ever wanted for whatever. You could spend the next 60 years of your life sitting on a chair, um, drinking coffee or smoking weed and or drinking energy drink, doing whatever you want to do when you're sitting in front of a computer and just watch YouTube videos. And you would never run out of new stuff. You probably wouldn't even run out of stuff that you at least up like you could probably go through YouTube now, especially if you haven't dove super deep into it and just spend years just like, oh, that kind of tickled my fancy. And you can do whatever you want. Like we're at a stage in at least human life, regard. I mean, who knows what else is happening? Uh, but a state in kind of human existence where you don't have to do anything to live. Yeah, there's no real like you have to do something to live comfortably, right? And this is specific. Like I'll give the caveat. This is specific to like Western nations, very developed nations with very large social spending and all kinds of what are they called? Not benefits, but not amenities are for hotels. I don't know what the fuck, but yeah, you just the government provides for a lot of things depending on your circumstances. Um, where you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You can just go, I'm just going to entertain myself on YouTube for the next 60 years. Oh, well, we lost the viewer immediately. We had someone for a couple seconds. Um, well, they're back. Who knows who that is? I have no idea how to get to you. Well, I don't know. Maybe I could. I don't know how to actually. Oh, there we go. Wow, look at me figuring things out. ANY. Um, So yeah, we're kind of at a point in humanity, whatever you want to call it, where stuff doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't have to matter. It used to be if you really wanted to get people behind a cause, it had to be violent because if not, what like if it wasn't something that was advocating for of like such a drastic change that it would require violent or violence, people were like, I have to work. I can't. My kids are going to die if I don't go to work tomorrow. My kids work. My kids are going to die if they don't go to work tomorrow. Um. So now we have this kind of emptiness where we go on Twitter, like people who have professions. These aren't people who sit at home all day. These are people who at least ostentatiously, I don't know if that was the right word there. Like outwardly are doing very well, are not just sitting at their houses and tweeting all day, and they seem like they're involved in things and they're talking to people and they're movers and shakers, and yet they're still tweeting. Like they're still telling everybody about how they're like how disappointed they are in other people being salty over crypto going down, and how if you leave now you were never actually a follower of crypto. And if it's, I don't know, they normally throw Satoshi's vision in there someplace. It's probably a hashtag, but like these are the people who are supposed to be doing stuff. Can you imagine, like imagine like what are the other people like doing? I mean, I guess most of them are reading tweets, but it's like even the people who are doing the most, we have so much free time at this point where even people who, like I'm saying, view themselves as being hard workers, grinders, well, I'm always on the grind. Um, need to just be able to say things to thousands of people because like they're bored. Like what? I don't. What's the point? It's good for if you're advertising for something. It's good for getting a product out there. It's good for you can still do like an anonymous conversation on there. I mean, it takes a few like added things to Twitter and different emails, but you can do that. You can kind of spread whatever. But now if you're worried enough about your message that you are at this point in time making an anonymous account on social media, most likely the social media is just going to ban you outright versus uh people like finding you and like whatever platform it is just going to get rid of you if you're saying something that's so egregious to popular culture that they're going to that you want to remain anonymous for your safety. Um, I don't really even know how this started. Again, I think it was just kind of complaining about crypto Twitter, and there's a like because I'm not like I was saying at the beginning, I'm not angry at anybody. I don't really care that much because I'm not that involved with it. I don't tweet. I barely tweet. I always go, "Yep, I'm going to start doing it now," and then people are going to follow me, and I'm going to reach out. I'm going to network. And look, Daniel talked to people. Zach got a job. Maybe that could happen. And then I go, well, yeah. I don't really have anything particularly witty to say in 250 characters that I'm not going to want to kill myself over in about 2 minutes because that's normally I'll be like, that's funny, yeah. And then I'll be like, that's not funny at all. And nobody else will get it besides you, Tim. And I want to do too many inside jokes with stuff, and then people just be like, what the fuck is the matter with you? Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've said this before. Just don't if Twitter's actually a drag on your life and actually causing you distress, then I can't say go back to it. And yep, just keep on hammering them, keep on uh holding up your end. Don't get bitched out of having your opinions. You have a right to a voice, and because I don't like what's the argument for like state funded internet for everybody? It's like it because I think they have it over in a few of the Scandinavian countries where they're like, well, it's a means of expression, so it must be free, which doesn't I don't know how that really works. That never translated over to paper being free. That never translated over to people being just given websites to just explain what they want. But uh, people are quick. People are quick enough to give up their kind of ownership of something for the sake of oh well the government will make sure that it's regulated correctly and that the service never dies down because I had to pay all this last time and my service was out for a couple of days. I'm like, yeah, but the whole block service wasn't out because some idiot just decided not to come to work today and his pension kicked in, so he is not coming back to work. um I don't even know if that makes sense for how public employment even works, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because nobody argues really anymore for the sake of making things private more. If you tell anyone, well, not anyone, but it is like most anyone you're gonna meet someplace, whether you're at a bar and somehow people start talking about education or even worse, gun control, and then you make one comment about like, yeah, I think they should stay out of it. And like, what the fuck is the matter with you? How are we going to get education? Don't you that's always the most brought up one is the oh Education is terrible. Yeah, we should probably privatize it. Ah, well, it's already falling apart. Don't that make it worse? I'm like, what? They- It's falling apart because it's public. No, it's not falling apart because it's public. It's falling apart because it's not run correctly. So, okay, so what's your plan to make it get all run all super correctly all of a sudden? Well, we're just going to elect the new people. And then in about a year, I'm not going to care about this anymore because Dancing with the Stars is going to be back on and a new season of Westworld is going to be on the way. It's going to be great. And it is. That's the problem. Like, it is great. I'm complaining about being able to waste all my time on YouTube for the next 60 years. But it's like if I all of a sudden was in a car crash, lost all my limbs, or at least was paralyzed. I don't know why I had to lose all my limbs or how that's like I'm ending up like the guy from One or Johnny Get Your Gun. Uh, I could live a semi decent life for the next 60 years. I probably wouldn't like it, but it'd sure be better than getting like that back in the 18th. Can you imagine just losing a leg back in the 1800s? Like how shitty that would have been, but people were still like, fuck it, I'm gonna ride a horse and kill people still. But now it's not. You just sit on your couch. If you're sick, you just sit on your couch and then Netflix just plays for the next 8 hours. You go microwave some fucking pudding. Fuck, I'm fucking this up all day. um, but yeah, it is great. And it's great that if I want to watch sports, I can pretty much turn on something at any point in time and there will be a live sporting event, whatever it is. And I'll complain about the UFC kind of monopolizing Reebok sponsorship. And so the fighters can't choose and have personal sponsors, at least on their shorts. But they're making money. So like they brought this sport to the biggest thing, and what they built that up from the 90s when it was just like people slapping each other and kicking each other in the balls and doing all kinds of weird shit. There's a guy in a gi fighting a guy with wrestling shoes on. There's a guy like a like they brought that up to where it's beating boxing now. Boxing was, yes, it was falling apart before, but like the UFC amongst others, but UFC in America revitalized combat sports completely. Now they're talking about bringing kickboxing back in, a Muay Thai. I don't even watch the stuff anymore. But as far as if you're going to be a fan of the MMA and then also just respect what they did, it is great. And if I was in their position, in Reebok was like, here, we're going to give you all this money. You just can't ever let anybody else sponsor them. I'd be like, yeah, sure. I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, give us more money. It doesn't like you don't these principles that you have when you're me, just angry about not having all the Bitcoin money and um pissed off because nobody talks to me. You don't have those sensibilities when you're on the top of the world and you're making billion-dollar deals and uh you go on Twitter and every single person is sucking your dick and going, "You're amazing. You've done so much." And you just get yeah. So you kind of do lose those sensibilities, and I think we all kind of have to understand that does happen, and that is why the world is so nice, is because people go, fuck it. Like it's probably not good what we're doing with cell phones and apps and Apple Watches and earbuds that you have to buy specific. Like it's just getting annoying. It's constant just attention and stuff flashing in your face, but it seems more fun, at least for like whenever you're shitting or whenever you like. I I can still kind of exist without a phone. I'll leave my phone at home sometimes. I'll forget it sometimes, but I'll leave it home on purpose sometimes. Uh just because just to try to get away from it. But I also I didn't have what was it? I think I got a cell phone like ninth grade because it was right yeah, it was right after I broke my right before I broke my leg. But I had a flip phone that from then, I guess that was when I was 15 till I was like 21 or so. That's when I got my first smartphone. And now, and I think Daniel and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. But it's like now, if you're growing up, it used to be a joke, like 6-year-olds with smartphones, but now they all have them. They might have some parental controls, which is good. Like it that's one thing. I almost refuse to be a parent on that sole uh stand, that sole point of I don't want to have to like protect this child from the internet. And I don't mean people trying to talk them into walking off to a store, which that's just as likely to happen as well. But just the stuff you can see, the things you can read, the people on there that they're not trying to abduct your child, but they say something and that might fuck up your child. Like I was saying at the very beginning of this episode, I can make all those arguments about how just saying something to somebody can ruin them for life and can cause them to go down different paths. I'm as a child, that I mean, that's even more important as far as like what kids shouldn't be exposed to when they're younger and you kind of need some maturity to be able to deal with. So I'm terrified as far as like what is open to people out there. I get scared about my parents sometimes, and it's just like, what the fuck are they gonna think if it's just all of a sudden there's oh, okay, example. Was it last night? There were the two Danish girls. I think there were five of them that went out there. The three of them went off someplace. Two Danish, some kind of Norwegian. I can talk about them disparagingly because that's where I look like this. This is where my mother's side of the family comes from. This in England. So fuck Scandinavia. But no, there were like five girls went down to Morocco. Two girls. I don't know. The reports are going back and forth, but because obviously nobody is taking an actual unbiased opinion of this, and I'll get to that in a second. But they went someplace. The locals say they left with some men. I'm not sure where they were because I don't know if bars are legal in Morocco. I didn't really do too much research on what Morocco was, but they killed them. I don't think they were raped. I think the motive that they're throwing out now is that it was um sexually motivated, which okay. But yeah, I'm not sure. You'd have to look it up for yourself. But two of them, I think the one got her throat slit. The other one had her head removed. I watched the video of what was supposed to be that last night because I was going through Reddit. I saw a link to it, and I went back like I don't know, like 20 minutes later, and it was already taken down. Because I refreshed the page, I left it up, gone into a different tab, refreshed it, and then it was this is blocked, it's been removed. But like I was saying, the bias there, of course, if you're conservative, whatever it is, oh, the Muslims are killing everybody, and this is so awful, this is terrible, this is worse than anything that has ever been done by any natural serial killer, or whatever it is. The left is then going, these girls were killed, and they had injuries to their neck, which I would say, yes, no, that is probably correct. If the one in the video has her head pulled off, yeah, it's a decent injury sustained to your neck. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's just one. Like if somebody just threw that on Twitter, there's a chance that my dad might hit that link before it goes down, and then he's like, why did I just watch? Like, snuff films were supposed to be an urban legend like 10 years ago, and since then they've been proven to be real to me time and time again. I don't even watch that many. It's mostly people going, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, I'm not watching that. I can't watch someone get beaten to death with hammers. I can't do this shit. But they're real now. Like and it was so quick from people being like, no, that's fake. They made movies about them, and these people were like, oh my God, this is what kind of a monster would do this. And then now it's just like, oh, there's thousands of monsters that are willing to videotape some guy getting his skin cut off while he's alive. So it's, again, the internet's a great thing. It's wonderful for connecting to people. This actually does kind of connect a little bit with Bitcoin, but just in general, technology, it's great. It's wonderful distracting us. It's wonderful for making our lives easier and I guess progressing us, maybe. I mean, we're still cutting people's skins off, or skin off, Jesus. But then at the same time, like Bitcoin, The internet bring like child pornography came into its heyday because of the internet. Uh, Bitcoin, yes, was probably used. I mean, I don't know in any specific instances. I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm sure, like, I'm not trying to deny that Bitcoin was used for that because it almost certainly was. I just don't have a specific example. But that's we're looking at people's actions being used for this technology, and the answer to getting rid of that, I guess this has to come all the way full circle. Full circle. Like I said at the beginning again, if if something like a libertarian utopia, an anarcho-capitalist utopia actually happened, there would have to be nowadays something like Twitter, probably a more in-depth one, so that we could keep track of everybody, and you could have like the Carfax of the person that you're dealing with. They walk into your store, they scan their face, and they go, "Ah, nope, get out. You shoplifted the next store over a couple days ago." Um, so like if technology is going to save us, it's only going to get more intrusive. But if which is fine. I can deal with being more intrusive if it means we're more free. What I'm afraid of and what normally happens is we get less freedom and the intrusiveness just increases along with it. Like we get Twitter and Facebook and we're like, yep, no, take all our information. Then Twitter and Facebook, like, yeah, we kind of build all kinds of back doors for everybody and we work pretty closely with the government. We're like, how could you record something that I gave to you? What's the matter? And then they go, shut up, you're being stupid. And we go, oh, okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Zuckerberg. Please let me post my timeline. But yeah, that'd be the only thing I can really say as far as advice would be to one, just mostly your phone, get away from your phone sometimes. But also if you can do something in your life, or if you can kind of try to guide people towards something, try to guide them towards being more like self intrusive and not being so, "Oh, I need to hide everything away from me. Every single weird thing about me shouldn't be told to people. And if it ever gets out, I might die." But don't ever encourage more regulation for something because it never helps. I mean, especially in the long run. I mean, it rarely helps in the short term either. But especially in the long term, just regulating something more does not save lives. It what saves lives are advancements that make things easier, quicker, and normally easier and quicker means taking a human out of the equation. So it's not regulation that saved all those kids from dying in cotton gins, because once you take the kid out of there, then he just starves with his family. And no, NY cartoons, you do not need a Twitter account. You're doing better. No. Um, it's pretty much it's not even a cesspool because it's not that bad, but it's not very useful either. You could, I mean, I've never asked you, I don't think, but your name is NY Cartoons. You have the cartoon guy. I don't know if you're a like an artist or an animator. I don't know what I did. I just exited out of something. Fuck. Um, well, who knows? Sorry, I lost the chat. Uh, well, now we somehow have 4 viewers. Well, thank you for showing up right here at the end, guys. Again, any of the new episodes or whenever we are doing a live one, we should be doing a live one, either podcast or a Twitch session every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's normally with Daniel Brown, Zach Vole, and I. You can always get the newest stuff at ymb.tc/live. Follow me at Baker's Dozen 93 on Twitter if you have a Twitter account. If you don't have a Twitter account, don't do it. It will not help you in your life, and it will most likely drag you down into further depression. Um, Besides that, thank you guys for listening, and I'll probably see you next week. I'm trying to think if I have anything else, or if I was trying to finish anything else whenever I decided to look at the chat and then exit out of everything, because I'm so smooth like that. Um, Here, cars and car audio. Cars and car audio. Huh. I don't know. So what, you work on cars, or you like install you install the subwoofers in the back? No, I don't know. Yeah, reply in the chat. Like I've mentioned a few times, we do always have a live chat going, so you can kind of get involved, and that's whether we're on the podcast or doing a Twitch stream. There's always a live chat. You can kind of get involved with the show. We'll talk with you. Again, check back next week. Go follow all the stuff at and BTC, and I don't know. Stay cool, guys. Have a good week. Don't let people Don't let the man bring you down, man. All right, bye. I'm sorry.